Yesterday, some big news came out in the NFL that Cooper Kupp was informed by the Rams that they would be seeking a trade immediately. And so now that we are in the offseason for the Packers and we look at, what the Packers can do to bolster this team, bolster this roster, I think lots of, when some of these top tier guys become available, I think it's something that, crosses your mind as a fan, should this happen, should this not happen? So I want to discuss this. Should the Packers bring in Cooper Kupp in a trade from the Los Angeles Rams? Here's what he said on X yesterday to inform the world about this news. He said, "I was informed that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believed it was going to begin and end in LA. Still, if there's one thing that I've learned over the years, there are so many things that are out of your control, but it is how you respond to these things that you will look back on and remember." And so the Rams have decided that their future is no longer going to be with Cooper Kupp, and I think that there's lots of reasons for this. First off, Cooper Kupp is 31 years old. He's dealt with a ton of injuries the past few years. He's consistently missed games the past couple seasons. If we look at his, the amount of games he's played the past 2 years, he has missed 5 games in the past 2 seasons, each of those years. And so he hasn't been consistently reliable just from a health perspective. And then when you look at some of the, financials, he missed 6 games last year. When you look at some of the financials, that's another massive reason for the Rams deciding to part ways with him. He has a $29.78 million cap hit for 2025. If the Rams trade him before June 1st, they'll save about $12.5 million against their cap, and then it will, free up cap space in future years. And so the fact that, LA, the team that drafted him, the team where he, played his career, where he's, beloved by fans, he's a, close friend with Matthew Stafford. The fact that they're trading Cooper Kupp, it's pretty, it sort of just shows you the state of where Cooper Kupp is right now in his career. And so when we look at it from the Packers' perspective, I do think they need to add a receiver. I think with the Christian Watson injury, that makes the need more pressing. I think adding one guy this offseason is necessary. Now, is Cooper Kupp the guy the Packers should add? There's so many factors. My main answer will be no. I don't think it's the best decision. First off, as we already said, 31 years old. He's been injured a lot. And when you look at the money that the Packers have to pay him, it's pretty sizable. And according to Ken Ingalls on X, he would have a $20 million cap hit for a team that trades for him. And that's if the Rams, don't pay off any of his deal. Some people believe they will have to pay some of it off for a team to actually be willing to trade for him. But where it stands right now, if the Packers had to bring him in at a $20 million dollar cap hit with his current circumstance, I just don't think it is worth that. Now, if you could get him on a much cheaper deal, if they could, rework the contract and get something much cheaper, I think that, any player for a reasonable price could make sense. And if you could get him for closer to $10 million, that's something that I think you could consider. And here's something interesting from Spotrac on X. They say any team looking to acquire wide receiver Cooper Kupp will almost certainly be renegotiating his current contract. The 31-year-old carries a 2-year, $22 million valuation in our system. If this came with a $10 million signing bonus plus 3 void years, it would mean a cap hit of around $3.2 million in 2025. And so if you could get him for cheaper, it would make more sense. I'm still not sold on the idea because if you look at Cooper Kupp, he takes a majority of his snaps from the slot. 63% of his snaps in his career have been from the slot. And considering the Packers already have a slot weapon in Jaden Reed, sure, Cooper Kupp could come in and switch in and out with Jaden Reed. Also, he could play some snaps on the outside because consistently he's played about a third of his snaps on the outside at receiver. But considering his strength is playing from the slot, and the Packers already have a slot weapon that they like and is really talented and I think can continue to develop and grow heading into his next couple seasons, I just don't think you bring in a guy, pay him a lot of money, who's injured, who's 31, when you already have someone who does a lot of what he does. Now, Jaden Reed, he's not Cooper Kupp. At least, Cooper Kupp in his prime. And Cooper Kupp, I don't think is the talent that he once was, even though he's still a really good receiver. But I think for the Packers, it makes more sense to try to target an outside receiver someone like T. Higgins, where, with Christian Watson out, you could have T. Higgins out there, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed all playing at the same time. Not saying you can't put Kupp out there with Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs, but considering strengths, I think it makes more sense to target someone, not named Cooper Kupp. Now, where something like this does make sense, I think for this Packers team where Gutekunst is really, you can see he's picked up the urgency going into 2025 that, he wants the Packers to win a championship, and he feels like it's time for that to take place. And so I think adding a couple veterans here or there makes sense just from a, veteran locker room perspective, a guy who can come in and, be a vocal leader, know what it takes to get the job done at the highest level. I do think things like that are very valuable. And so he is a very reliable receiver when he's healthy. He's not the player he once was, but I still think he's going to be productive even heading into 2025. And so the biggest thing for me, if it was a lot cheaper for him to come to Green Bay, I'd be much more open to it. And I think Jordan Love getting a veteran guy is something that I wouldn't be opposed to. But considering injury history, a lot of those other factors, I just don't think it's the best decision for the Packers, who I think could find, someone else who could be here a lot longer than Cooper Kupp, who's, going to be nearing his mid-30s in the next few seasons. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. You want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I will see you guys next time.